Hello and welcome back to Show Me Nourish. I'm Michelle Rawls, your licensed nutritionist and nurse and owner of Show Me Nourish. So we dropped off last night in this conversation where I have now become bulimic and no one even knows or is paying attention as to what I'm doing. I have now went from being 200 pounds to 130 pounds. And at this point in time, I am heading into my 8th grade year, which is just right before we start going into high school. So I'm feeling very much alive, very much, into my female years of high school, pre-high school, getting ready to shoot into the boys, the basketball, the volleyball, all of this is going on, right? And things are going great. I'm in that mode of being a teenager. And as we continue to move on, my weight continues to stay right in that 130, 140, give or take 5 or 10 pounds on a regular basis. We move into the years, and now I am a senior, getting ready to graduate. And I'm starting to notice some things. My teeth are starting to get soft. The palate of my mouth is turning a discoloration. And I meet my first husband at this point in time. And as we continue to move on, we get married. I'm now, working. And it's getting into that time frame where it's time to have some children, right? Things aren't going very well. Miscarriage. Finally, as I go in to see my OBGYN prior to the miscarriages, she knows exactly what's going on. She knows exactly how this has all played out. So she runs a bunch of tests before she says anything. And I've got my sneaking suspicions that she's onto something, and I'm doing my best to really keep it as hidden as I have. So the blood tests come back. I have already had one miscarriage by this point, and she pinpoints it. She says, "How long have you been bulimic?" And I really couldn't say anything other than to say, since I was about 14 years old. So by this point, I'm already 4 to 5 years into the bulimia. Like I said, have a schedule. I'm working it accordingly, and I felt good. I felt like I really had it, under control. She made it very clear that she was surprised I was still alive. She said that there is hardly any minerals or vitamins in your body whatsoever. Your body is completely stripped. Your body can't hold a baby, which is the reason why I had miscarriages. So she puts me on a prenatal vitamin, and she encourages me at that point to start looking at better, healthier foods. So we are working in a direction at this point. This is when it really sparks me that I am interested now in food, how food works, how it functions, the chemistry of food, what vitamins work here or there or does what. So this whole interest has now got me piqued, but I have to work first on no longer being bulimic. So she sends me to a psychiatrist. And over the next 7 years, I am with a psychiatrist. I have no longer been bulimic. I actually quit within the first 3 months of seeing the psychiatrist. He was very good with that. We got underneath what was really triggering that behavior. And quite honestly, guys, I want to be very honest here because this is my story. This is my series with you. I want you to understand and know why I am so much and passionately into food as I am. So the story will lay into how you understand where we are today. So one of the things that really triggered the bulimia was, again, being back in the 80s, skinny was in, thin was what you needed to be. But there were also 2 other key factors. So I have a father who's a cop. It was not an easy life being a cop's daughter. If you're a cop's daughter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a simple life. It's a very hard life. With that being said, my father was very clear as I was growing up that men do not like fat women. And if I wanted a man, I had better not be fat. And I had an aunt who was very much overweight. She topped at one point at 400 pounds, like her father. My dad was very clear that he did not want me being like her. Very much this conversation was brought up on a regular basis. Conversations like these play upon children. If you're not handling these conversations correctly, it plays upon their psyche, as it did mine. And like I said, in the 80s, it was all about thin was in. If you wanted to be a model, you better be thin. If you wanted to be a flight attendant, as I had told my father as we were coming into my 18th year of age and coming into my senior year as well, he asked me, he said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a flight attendant. And he directly looked at me and said, you can't be a flight attendant. You're too fat. But you could probably be a sales ticket individual. That's our show for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.